I'm a sannyasi at Anaadi Foundation. It's in Palani. We are an ashram where we come along the tradition of Agastya Maharishi, Mahavatar, Kriya Babaji, Adi Shankaracharya. These are our gurus, Sriman Adinarayan ji and Matushri Anantalakshmi ji. And there are Guru Dampatis, and we live somewhere here at the foothills of Ivar Malai. This place is called Ivar Malai. And here we have an ashram and a gurukulam as well. This is our Dhyana Alayam. This is our Dhyana Mandapam. I'm just still doing my self-intro here. We'll go into the content in a moment. These are some among our children. You can meet them in room number 9 where they are doing puppet show as well. Earlier in Lit Fest here and our children's Lit Tales earlier, they have done all this in the last editions. They also do a lot of yoga and nritya. We also learn and teach each other a lot of things in the gurukulam. We camp, we cook for each other. And you are all welcome at some point in time. So many other activities that we do amongst ourselves. We build many things ourselves. We live with nature. We try to do organic constructions and many other aspects. We do a lot of things. But let me come today to this, what I wanted to cover today on Bharatiya, Ganita. When I say a gurukulam, what picture comes to your mind? Right before this, there was a screensaver. Can we go back to that and the regular display you were doing, Ji? About the lit tales pati neenga oru display potirundinga. Enoda HDMI disconnect pannita. I was looking at this display that idu pathingala. Do you think this is a gurukulam? So under a tree, there is probably someone with a beard, long hair, longer the hair, greater the person he is. And some stories are happening under this gurukulam. What do you think people learn at gurukulams? In the earlier years, you have heard of gurukulams, right? What do you think people were learning in gurukulams? Vedas. Excellent answer. Could be Vedas. Mathematics. The topic is mathematics. Can be mathematics. Art of warfare. Art of warfare. We could have learned. Addi ellaru sanda, bunda, manda, odaya. Astronomy. Mathematics. Yoga. Mind. Medicine. Yes. Medicinal sciences. If you see this glorious history of Bharat, you would see that there is this chart that tells us that historically what the GDP of the world's countries have been. GDP. Have you heard of this word? Gross what? Whatever in your homes you are making, domestic products. What is GDP? GDP is like your report card. Does your report card say everything about you? Not really, right? Let's say you went outside your classroom and switched off your school fans, your classroom fans. Does that come in the report card? Somebody fell down, you helped them. Does that come in your report card? It doesn't say everything about you. It says one particular dimension about you. Like the GDP says one small dimension about a nation, and it says it's sort of an indicator as to how wealthy a nation was. Are you following what I'm saying? In that, this is called a stacked bar graph. The UN asked somebody called Angus Madison. They commissioned a study by Angus Madison to understand the history of the world's GDP. What we see here in pale orange is Bharat's contribution when you take the whole world's pie. Okay? You will see that in the 1st century, in the 10th century, so on up to the 17th century, we contributed to almost 1/3 of the world's GDP. How much? 1/3. Today, when we look at the West for various opportunities, right? We look up to the US, Europe. The Western countries are very, very attractive to us because they are superpowers. At some point in time, we were the country that everyone were attracted to, right? Do you know this? In the 1400s, especially in 1452, the Chapel Bulls, they declared that there is something called the doctrine of discovery. They said that wherever we go around the world, the Europeans will try to colonize and call that their discovery. Do you know this? Who discovered America? Have you all studied this? What is there to discover? It was already there. Weren't people already there? Am I right or wrong? You have all played Kannambuchi game to a small child. Where are you? Here I am. And the Mary Columbus went there and he said, that is India. Did he say that? Till today we call that India. Then in 1492, somebody else came here. Who came here? And we say Vasco da Gama discovered India. Before that, who was here? The audacity of these people is, they don't want to now think that we have discovered the real India. No. They call that West India. They call this East India. And then an East India trading company. Do you know the story? Look at the audacity of the European mindset. To think this is discovery and giving us a label and calling that East India Trading Company, and you have to write this in your 10th grade and you have to score. Till today, we are colonized in our educations. Very sad scenario is this. The audacity of these people is that when I ask you in your education, when I ask you to name a few scientists, who would you say? Who do we study about in our school books? Thomas Alva Edison. Then? So C.V. Raman. Do we study about C.V. Raman in our books? When do you study the Raman effect? Much later might be. I want to know the discovery and the person that, scientist that you are studying about. Who invented gravity? Newton. Aren't we all studying this? What did Euler, E-U-L-E-R, have you heard his name? What did he do? What did he do? What not have you learnt? What did Kannada invent? Maharishi Kannada, we have heard of his name. Are we studying his inventions in our textbooks? You tell me honest to God. APJ Abdul Kalam, what did he invent? You know Edison invented what? You know that? What did Newton invent? Do you all know that? What did Archimedes invent? Do you know Archimedes? Eureka, the fellow who ran out of the bathtub. What did he invent? Buoyancy. Who is that? Fantastic. Who is that? Yaro nariya padikranga textbooks. Who was that? Big round of applause. Thank you. Fantastic. Now if I ask, what did Maharishi Kannada discover? What did Aryabhatta discover? Discovered zero. It's a big myth. Aryabhatta did not discover zero. I'll tell you the true history of Indian mathematics. What did Aryabhatta discover? Any of you here have started trading trigonometry here? Anybody? Not yet trigonometry. Javanda and the sine, cos along kandupuduchan. Are you feeling that every day like me? Illaya? படிச்சவங்களுக்கெல்லாம் தெரியும். படிக்காதவங்கலாம் படிக்கும்போது புரிஞ்சுப்பீங்க. Thank you. Now I used to wonder in my school days, A plus B the whole square. A square plus B square. Now if I see some movie I saw recently, in which படிக்கிற மாதிரி யாராச்சும் நடிக்கணும்னா immediately என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க? A plus B the whole square, A square plus B square plus 2AB. பாத்திருக்கீங்களா? அது என்னன்னே புரியாது. எங்கேருந்து வந்தது இந்த A plus B the whole square? யார் கண்டுபிடிச்சா? There are various fallacies when we inherit a Western mimicking Eurocentric education. Lot of solutions lie in the gurukula system of education that was earlier there. Otherwise, our black box ideas, mantras they were studying, Ganita they were studying, what were they studying? They weren't carrying school books. They weren't carrying school bags. There was no smart board in their schools. How were they learning math? How were they learning physics? Right? We have a treasure trove of pedagogies. நம்ம ஈவென்ட்டோட போஸ்டர் பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா, where we just saw ஒரு ரிஷி under the tree, you could learn physics, math, Kannada was, in the Vaisheshika Darshana, he has explored so many things and he has presented various models of atom. Thomson's model of atom, Bohr's model of atom, all that we have studied. We have never studied Kannada's model of atom. We have never studied Aryabhata's inventions in trigonometry. We don't know the origination of calculus is in Bharat. And there are various facets when we blindly mimic common core standards of the world. The common core standard, CC, is how all our curriculums are created. They are based on mimicking the West blindly. This is what Bharat should wake up from right now. The National Educational Policy 2020 clearly states that we should introduce IKS. What should we introduce? IKS stands for Indian Knowledge Systems. Thank you. Indian Knowledge Systems. Knowledge is seri. Adu enna Indian knowledge, Chinese knowledge, Russian knowledge. Maths seri. Adu enna Indian maths vera, German maths vera. Why do we qualify a knowledge system based on Bharat? The thought process is very unique, and that is what I wanted to present today. I wanted to present to you how beautifully we taught various schools and case in hand mathematics. Mathematics class ku lit tales ku enna samudon ketingna, literature rich irkum mathematics classes earlier. It will be rich in stories, it will be rich in applications. We will see the greatest mathematics book that was once present throughout Bharat was called Leelavati, written by Bhaskaracharya. Who wrote it? He wrote this in the 12th century. He comes from Charlesgone, a modern day village in Maharashtra. He set up the Maharashtrian School of Mathematics. His great grandson Changadeva, he set up a matha. Matha means a college back then. He set up a matha to seriously research the Grantha of Leelavati and disseminate it everywhere. 14,000 students studied in this matha, and there are inscriptions for it. My alma mater, two prestigious institutions, Amrita University here in Coimbatore has 450 acres of land. My other alma mater, IIT Bombay, has 650 acres of land. None of these places have 14,000 students. If you see Changadeva's institution, it was a phenomenal institution. Similarly, the Malay that I showed you at the beginning, Ivar Malay, there Airai Amma, a 7th century teacher, had 2,000 disciples. Kalvettu irukanga. 2,000 disciples in a Malay. Airai Amma, இப்பெல்லாம் டீச்சர் டு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ரேஷியோ அக்ரெடிட்டேஷன்ல என்னென்னமோலாம் கேட்கறாங்க. முன்னாடி துர்வாச மகரிஷி டீச்சர் டு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ரேஷியோ 1:10,000 தெரியுமா? 10,000 disciples were following Durvasa Maharishi wherever he went. And he didn't even have a square feet of land. It was a walking university. வா நடக்கலாம் போலாம் அப்படி கத்துக்கலாம் எல்லா இடத்துலயும். That was Durvasa's approach. And Durvasa நமக்கு பிடிக்காத டீச்சர். என்ன பண்ற உட்காரு நேரம் உட்காரு. Durvasa எப்ப பார்த்தாலும் அப்படி அவருக்கே 10,000 disciples. பெரிய விஷயம் இல்லையா? கண்டிப்பா கை தரணும் துர்வாச மகரிஷிக்கு. அப்படி they made education very 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 fascinating. நீங்க யோசிச்சு பாருங்க, in a school you spend 7 hours a day on an average, let us say 7 to 8 hours இல்ல 9 to 5 school, 5 to 9 tuition, அந்த கேட்டகரியா நீங்கலாம்? I hope not. சரி, இதே குருகுலம் எஜுகேஷன்லாம் it starts when? ஆமா, என்ன எத்தனை மணிக்கு? midnight 4 o'clock சொல்றாருங்க அவரு. யாராச்சும் இங்க 4 o'clock பார்த்தவங்க இருக்கீங்களா வாழ்க்கையில? What time do you all get up in the morning? 6-7 o'clock ஸ்கூல் பஸ் வரும். 6க்கு நாங்க எழுந்தா ஆகணும். 6:55 கூட எழுந்து நாங்க மேனேஜ் பண்ணிடுவோம் இல்ல? Tell me, the Gurukula has to function from when to when? 24 hours யாரோ சொல்றாங்க. பாவம், அந்த டீச்சரும் பாவம், அந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டும் பாவம். சதா நாள் முழுக்க உட்கார்ந்து இருந்தீங்கன்னா என்ன ஆகும் சொல்லுங்க? ஒரு ஸ்கூல்ல அவங்க எல்லாம் போடுறாங்க, வெளிலையே போக முடியாது. எப்ப ஸ்கூல் எஜுகேஷன் முடிச்சவரை தான் வெளில போக முடியும். அதான் குருகுலம் மாடல். அப்ப ஹவு இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் should they have made? எல்லாரும் ஓடி போயிருந்திருக்கணும்ல. கரெக்ட் தானே நான் சொல்றது? How interesting should they have made education in this gurukulas to work? So gurukulas is a black box for many of us. Anga how did they teach is something we should re-research and reintroduce in our education. That has been, when I was given sannyasa diksha, the foremost instruction I was given is that the adesha is to work towards educational reform. It is a very serious thing for a nation to progress. The bottleneck right now is education. When you don't have the right frameworks, the Praja Dharma, we have people who are doing excellent Raja Dharma right now. But where is the Praja Dharma? For us to follow the Praja Dharma, you need the right education. Adila, they made all this very, very interesting. Okay, va? Max, you imagine, notebook kadiyadu, pencil kadiyadu, and the marathu kadiyila, you have to make it. And evlo students in Changadeva school, great grandson of Bhaskaracharya, how much did I say? 14,000 students padikano. Interesting, huh? How do we make it? Or we'll see a few samples from Indian mathematics. Okay, so the invocatory verse of Leelavati goes like this. It's a tongue twister. You should repeat after me. Okay, Leela galalulalola, Leela galalulalola, Leela galalulalola, Kalavyala vilasine. இது one word. இது பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த கோடு ஃபுல்லா கண்டினியூ ஆகுது. You cannot break it. Okay, by Sanskrit rules. Leela galalulalola kalavyala vilasine. பாத்தீங்களா? இப்படிதான் மேக்ஸ் கிளாஸ். கணேஷாய நமோ நீல கமலா மலகாந்தயே. ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது கணேஷாய வால்யூம் குறையுது. But this is how they made everything in mathematics as a song. நீங்க யோசிச்சு பாருங்களேன், the note textbooksனா what will you then carry to the school? இந்த தலை. நான் உங்களுக்கே ஃபீனிக்ஸ் புக் தர முடியாது, பட் நான் வேற ஏதாவது தரேன் உங்களுக்கு அப்புறம். சரி, வாட் வில் தே கேரி? அவ்வளவுதான். இந்த தலையை தூக்கிட்டு போனோம் ஸ்கூலுக்கு. And your ears must function well. You should carefully pay attention. And the methodology must be so interesting. You see, a math class is beginning like this. இதுல math எங்க இருக்கு? You might wonder. We will come into that. So there is a beautiful picture that Bhaskara is painting now. You all know Ganesha. அவரோட ஆதார் கார்டுல அவரோட அப்பா பேர் என்ன பாத்திருக்கீங்களா? அவரை you all know him. நம்ம பின்தெருவில் தான் இருக்கார், பாத்திருப்பீங்கல்ல. சிவபெருமான். what does he do all the time? all the time தபஸ்யா, மெடிடேஷன். பாத்திருக்கீங்களா? அவர் கண்ணை திறந்து ஏதாவது கோயில்ல பாத்திருக்கீங்களா? கண்ணை திறந்து நக்கீரர் கதையெல்லாம் கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கோம், அது இல்ல. பட் you've always seen him meditating, right? And Ganesha as a kid, Bhaskara is imagining in this literature, this beautiful poetic imagination, that he is sitting on the lap of Shiva and he is utterly bored. Avaru kanna tharandu paakrar, thalayatti paakrar, ivara meditation la deepa samadhiyila irukar. There is nothing that can shake him awake. appa yaar kuda vilaadradhu? Kalavyala, the black snake that's coiled around the gala, the neck of Shiva Peruman. அது என்ன பண்றாரு? கணேஷா ட்வைங் ட்வைங் அப்படின்னு புடிச்சு இழுத்து விளையாடி பாக்குறாரு. And as he pulls it, it's going front and back and going sideways. Right? This is called lulat motion in Sanskrit, and this is called lolat motion in Sanskrit. So lulal lola. This first line alone has so much la 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 la. It's a tongue twister. You begin the class with a tongue twister. Every time you begin with an Mangalacharna. So it says that the beautiful imagery that it awakens is that, like Ganesha, you fearlessly handle mathematics. Vasuki is the black snake coiled around the neck of Shiva, the first among the children of Kadru. Mahabharatala, Khadru and Vinat. Ipdi max class, Mahabharata kulla pohum, anga pohum, inga pohum. And what's happening? The idea that Bhaskara is saying is, you should fearlessly approach math and playfully play with it, like how Ganesha is playing with Vasuki. To that person I bow down and begin my journey. It goes on like this. And following that, in so many different domains we were leading the world, and we could do all these domains as beautiful poetry and beautiful literature. We were foremost in all these knowledge domains in our gurukulas, not just Vedas. We taught a whole host of things. And you would see that the best part about all this is all that was written in rich poetry. So that, inni varaikum we don't forget that London Bridge is falling down, right? நம்ம தாத்தாவும் அதான் படிச்சிருக்காரு தெரியுமா? இப்பவும் அதான் நடக்குது. Same bridge is still falling down. பாபா அது எப்படி இதெல்லாம் ஞாபகம் இருக்கு? ஒரு சினிமா பாட்டு twice நம்ம கேட்டா நம்மளால திருப்பி பாட முடியுதா? கரெக்டா? ஆனா ஏன் அதே paragraph we cannot study? பிரச்சனை நம்ம கிட்டயா இல்ல அதுலயா? நம்ம கிட்ட இல்ல. அதுதான் உண்மை. The thing is, we have memory power, we have capacity, but it's not written in a metrical pattern. The brain's ability to scan and retain metrical patterns is way higher than prose, and more so, English as a language is non-alpha syllabic. And the very word non-alpha syllabic is non-alpha syllabic. Alpha syllabic na, as you write, so you pronounce. G-H-O-T-I. How do you pronounce it? G-H-O-T-I. How will you pronounce it? அது நேத்திக்கு வந்துட்டு நீங்கெல்லாம் என் கிளாஸ் ஏற்கனவே அட்டென்ட் பண்ணி அதே ஷோவை திருப்பி பார்த்து கோட்டி இல்லையா? இவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்க? என்ன சொல்றாங்க? fish ன்னு சொல்றாங்க. George Bernard Shaw said G-H-O-T-I is pronounced as fish. Huh? Really? Fish. How come rough tough has G-H, right, as first sound, right? G-H is first sound. Woman, and the plural for woman is women, and O has a E sound there. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, T-I has what sound? Sh sound. Thereby George Bernard Shaw said English is a funny language. English as a language doesn't have etymology. There's no logic behind how the alphabets are. They just borrowed the entire vocabulary from the world. They begged, borrowed, stole from everywhere. Not just wealth, also the vocabulary. Rendezvous is there in English. Catamaran from Katamaram is there. Jagannath has become Juggernaut in English. You also have Jamaivu in English. There is no common etymology in English. You have basically borrowed from everywhere. A, B, C, D. Is there any logic to A, B, C, D? No. But if you look at the Sanskrit letters, Ka, Kha, Gha, Gha, Nga, all that arise from guttural. Cha, Cha, Ja, Ja, Nya, all that comes from the soft palate. Hard palate then. Tha, Tha, Dha, Dha, Na, hard palate. Then Danta, Tha, Tha, Dha, Dha, Na. Oshta, Pa, Pa, Bha, Bha, Ma. There's a lot of scientific thought process behind everything in the Indian tradition. And hence the textbooks can be filled with more joyous things than ever. So like this, you would see that the knowledge systems in Bharat, especially if you see Ganita, it belongs to three ages. One is the Vedic period, another is the Siddhantic period, and then the post-Siddhantic period. Today what we understand as Vedic maths was compiled much later in 1960s by the Shankaracharya of Puri Matha. That's how the term called Vedic math became very popular. But across these three ages, before this language in which we are talking was born, grade 10 mathematics were all fully present. Grade 10 mathematics by 500 BCE. அப்புறம் calculus அது இதெல்லாம் இங்க வந்துடுது. இப்போ BSc MSc mathல படிக்கிறதெல்லாம் இங்க இருக்கு medieval period. Lot of math is there in the Indian tradition. The earliest known mathematician to the world is called Bodhayana. We must be very, very proud of our tradition. He wrote this text called the Bodhayana Sulba Sutra, in which he has tried to arrive at pi. நீங்க எல்லாரும் pi னு படிச்சிருக்கீங்களா ஸ்கூல்ல? Pi is what? 3.14 இருக்கலாம் இல்ல 22/7. But what on earth is this 3.14? Let us say I have a straight line. Okay? I take a straight line. If I rotate it 180 degrees, what will I get? A full circle வந்துரும். நீங்க rotate பண்ணி பாத்தீங்கன்னா. இந்த சர்க்கிளோட சர்க்கம்ஃபரன்ஸுக்கும் இந்த நீங்க சூஸ் பண்ண டயாமீட்டருக்கும் இருக்க ரேஷியோ பேர் தான் பை. C by D is pi literally. Okay? இதை யாரு டிஸ்கவர் பண்ணா? ஆர்ய பட்டா. We must be very very clear about all this. But in the pi value என்னவா இருக்க முடியும்னு போதாயனா try to estimate back in 800 BCE. Root 2 ஓட வேல்யூ என்னது? 1.414. இது வந்து ரொம்ப படிச்சிட்டீங்க உங்களுக்கு, அதனால ஃபீனிக்ஸ் புக் கண்டிப்பா ப்ளீஸ் சார். உங்க நேம்? Adarsh. Thank you. In the school நீங்க fantastic. This is the must read book. I'll tell more about it at the end of this session. This, we have the author of the book also here, Jaganji here with us. This talks about, this is a work of fiction, yet very, very relevant to all of you as young Indians to understand. When I started with GDP, you must understand how finances work in the world and what are possible interesting things that are emerging. You can learn a lot from this fictional book. And more so than that, we see that Bodhayana in 800 BCE, he gave what is called as today what we study as the Pythagorean theorem. What we study as Pythagorean theorem. Today, the International Mathematical Union has revised in their index of naming this theorem as Bodhayana theorem / Pythagorean theorem. Dirgha chaturashrasya akshaya rajjuhu parshvamani triyangmani cha yat prithak bhute kurutah tat ubhayam karoti. கேட்கறதுக்கு என்னடா இவங்க எந்த கோயிலேந்திரா வந்தார் அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும். But if you carefully listen, all of us have the key to decode this. Chatura means what number? Chatura. Chaturana 4, number 4. Ashrana side. Chatura ashra. அப்படின்னா என்னவா இருக்கும்? 4-sided figure. தீர்க்க சதுரஸ்ராவானா என்னவா இருக்கும்? என்னவா இருக்கலாம்? Rectangle. Fantastic. உங்க பேரு? டாக்டர். 1 for Krish. நீங்க எந்த ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்து? தீர்க்க சதுரஸ்ரா அப்படின்னா ரெக்டாங்கிள். இதெல்லாம் நம்மளே கண்டுபிடிக்கலாம் படிச்சு. அக்ஷ்ணயா ரஜ்ஜுஹு. இங்க ஒரு ரெக்டாங்கிள் இமேஜின் பண்ணீங்கன்னா அதோட டயகனல் பேர் அக்ஷ்ணயா ரஜ்ஜு. ரஜ்ஜு means a rope. When you connect opposite ends, it's called a diagonal. Akshnaya rajjuhu parshvamani triyangmani cha yat prithak bhute kurutah. When I take this side, the one side called tiryak side, another side is called parshva side. And if I make a square, literally build a square using them. If I sum total these areas, if I make a square using this side as the measure, idu rendu will be, c square will be equal to a square plus b square. Idu yaar kudutha? Bodhayana. Very, very fantastic things we did in the Indian tradition. Sadly, around the world, there is colonized education right now. Not just Indians, all ancient civilizations had great thinkers and great contributors. However, we are not studying about any of them in a colonized curriculum. By 2035, the vision of our honorable Prime Minister, just a few months back he announced, in 2025 he announced, 2035 will be Makhale Mukt Bharat. He said this. Makhale education must be out of Bharat by 2035. We should all work for that. Raja Dharma is there. Where is the Praja Dharma? We should all work to realize this vision of our honorable Prime Minister. Adanaladhan in the mari events and sessions. In fact, when you see, they tried to build, Agni Kundas like this earlier as part of the Bodhayana Sulba Sutra. It's a construction manual, like how if you go to, if you go to many of these modern furniture stores, right? They make it and already give you a construction manual. You have to build it, right? IKEA and so on. Like that, the Sulba Sutra is a construction manual to make your own fire altars. Adala enna constraint na surface area of all these must be same. This is called Dakshinagni. This is called Ahavaniha. This is called Garhapatya. These, even now, there are people, Agnihotris, who make this and keep this up. But the math behind it is what is captured in the Bodhayana Sulba Sutras. If I have to make surface areas common, it leads you on a quest to pi and such things. So route 2, they built complex things like this. This is called a Shena Chiti. It's such an Agni Kunda that they built that was built in the Sulbas in the Vedic ages. This is a beautiful poem in Leelavati. You see the flavor of math. Ipadi, they told you theorems. Now I'll tell you a puzzle that's there in Leelavati. It goes like this. Parthah karnavadhaya marganaganam kruddho rane sandadhe tasyardhena nivarya tacharaganam mulais chaturbhirhayan shalyam shadbihi atheshu bistribhirapi chatram dhvajam karmukam chichedasya shirasharena katite yanarjuna sandade. How many of you know quadratic equations here? வரல, நல்லது. இன்னும் வரல நம்ம லைஃப்ல. கொஞ்சம் பேருக்கு தான் வந்திருக்கு இந்த அலர்ஜி. பின்னாடி வரும் எல்லாருக்கும் இந்த அலர்ஜி. அப்ப பார்த்து பத்திரமா இப்பவே வேக்சினேஷன் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. This is from Bhaskara. Partha, who is Partha? Arjuna. He is doing what? Karna Vada. In that episode, he is using vectors of arrows. Madghanaganam. He is showering arrows. In the Gori battlefield, Kruddho Rane Sandade, continuously. Tasyardhena nivarya. If X arrows were used, X by 2 were used for defense. Nivaryam. Tacharaganam, of those arrows, Mulai Chaturbhirhayan. 4 root X. Mulaihi, X, 4 root X. Chaturbihi, 4 times that, were used to tackle the horses, Hayan, of Karna. Shalyam Shadbihi, 6 to immobilize Shalya. Who is Shalya? Karna Saradi. Partha Saradi is Krishna. Karna Saradi is Shalya. If you didn't know, very interesting story, last story for the session. Shalya was the maternal uncle of Nakula and Sahadeva. Okay? Madri's own brother. He comes with one Akshogini of warriors. Kurukshetra, vanda onne ennachu, neenga nariya hotels kalam pona onne, what do? They immediately give you great hospitality. They give you welcome drink. Mala poduvanga. And you feel, aha, 5-star hotel na 5-star hotel na. Like that, once they entered Kurukshetra, they gave him, welcome drink and feast and ellam kudutranga. Appa, what did Shalya think? My own sister's sons dhaan idallam pannirpaanga. Adanala saapidumbodu, food saapidumbodu, he's saying, to those who have given us this food, we will give our lives to. Abdin solra. Appa takkani yaar ulla nodeira? Duryodhana vandra. This meal was brought to you by Duryodhana and Co. The proud sponsors. The food partners of this Kurukshetra. We are the people. Inge Vak kudutiteenga. Vak Shuddhi was very important in earlier tradition. Now he had to go Indian books and we have to bring that back. Adu sada dosa, set dosa, but family dosa. 623 into 11, you put 6 and 3 here. Then you add 2 plus 3 here. Then you add 6 plus 2 there. So 6853 is your answer. Isn't this amazing? So this is 11. You dosama veche, dosa, idli konja dhaan panna mudiyum. Okay? Vera, adutha vera dhaan namanna, either 12 kum pannala, a few other changes you have to do. Adu rava dosa, apram thaniya rava upma, onnu oru strategy irukkum. You would use different multiplication strategies for different things. Just to give you a taste of things. This is 752 times idu set family dosa. So write 2 here, 5, 7 plus 5, 12, so 8276, right? So like this, the Indian mathematical tradition ensured that we have good neurocognitive abilities. It helps us learn mathematics in a completely rasatmika way. Saraswati Devi means Rasa, who gives us rasa into things. In the Indian tradition, it nurtures high-speed mathematical abilities. Of course, this is a trailer, this is a teaser. You must learn more about it. We have tried to publish a lot of books. We work extensively with schools to implement this curriculum. We work with the central government, with the Ministry of Education. In all Navodaya schools in the country, they follow these IKS books right now. We do a lot of our books. You can check them out at anaadi.org/IKS books. You can go through online courses at anaadi.org/igurukulam. Thank you all for being wonderful, wonderful audience. Hope you all loved this session. Thank you so much. Any questions, anything? Any stones to throw at me? What is your key takeaway from this session? India Indian economy is the best economy. அந்த மாதிரி எதாவது சொல்லிடாதீங்க. கில்லி படம் டயலாக்லாம் இங்க வேண்டாம். Indian mathematics is the best mathematics. சரி, அது ஓகே தான், நல்ல டயலாக். But you must understand that we as Indians must strive to again rediscover our scientific history as well, which is rich in literature and rich in the way it has been presented. These pedagogies are not limiting but liberating. Again, thanks to you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Acharya ji. I have personally started loving maths. So from English, I plan to move to mathematics.
Welcome, welcome and join the family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
May I request Mr. Jagannathan to hand over the memento to Acharya ji.